What is up? May mga tao na ba, Emil?
D Prime, Glendale, happy birthday, by the way.
Ay, happy birthday, Doc G.
Happy birthday, Doc G. Yeah,
The
D
PhD
Prime,
of pro wrestling. Yeah, rock and
yes.
roll.
Alright, D Prime's also in the comments. Hello, D
What
Prime.
up, D
He's
Prime?
saying that happy DexCon week. Yeah, Glendale also says happy DexCon week.
Uy,
So, yun. It's another weekend where lahat tayo magsasama-sama ulit.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so see.
Magkakaamuyan na naman kayo ng pawis sa Brawl Pit. I will
Yes.
not be there.
Oh, you
Not because I don't want to smell you guys. Trust me. It would be my honor, maamoy kayo. But I will be at somewhere else for a show. I will be at the meet and greet on
yun,
Saturday. So if you guys are
yun.
coming to that, we'll see you at Hobby Stadium at 3:30. Pakita
Yun.
natin si Ato Lacy Lane. Sino ba na yun? Carlo Cannon. As well as everybody who's part of the show for
Yun.
DexCon Sari Sari Slam.
Yun. We will see you there, guys.
We're also giving away the tickets tonight. Announce namin yung winner.
Yes.
May mga
So,
sumali ng raffle
ang daming
for
sumali. Fairness, ha? Daming
congrats
sumali
to everybody who
sa...
joined.
Oo. And got the correct answer.
O sana, may sumali ba na hindi
Actually, yeah,
tamis?
there was a couple.
Mag-google na lang kayo, hindi nyo pa magawa.
There was a couple.
Nakang, kung
Ayan.
Google nyo na lang yan, di naman namin ko questioning kung ginoogle nyo o hindi.
Importante yung tamang sagot lang, di ba?
Oh, pride na yan guys eh. Pride na yan.
I'm saying what's up as well to John, Bruce, what's up? Abby, hello. Ina,
Hey,
yeah,
Abby.
so the usuals are slowly coming in. It's only us, by the way,
Yes,
here
no Ro
tonight.
and Stan tonight. Just Chino and Emil.
Yes.
So, sana huwag kayo mag-tune out. It's gonna be a Sapaw fest tonight on the pod. But
Yeah,
we'll try our best here. Try our
uh,
best.
yeah, we do have a lot of things to talk about here tonight.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot of things. May predictions tayo. May announcement tayo of winners for the Sari Sari Slam show. Predict ba natin yung Sari Sari Slam, di ba?
no.
Bad idea. Bad idea. But we should, though. I think we should. But they're not tonight. No, maybe
Yeah,
next one.
yeah,
And we'll also talk about Raw and NXT. So, ang dami. Dami pa pag-uusapan.
yeah. It was a good week. It was a good week of wrestling.
Yeah, especially, well, may PLE tayo last weekend, but
Yeah, there's another one. There's
another
another
one this
pay-per-view.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wrestling never stops, you guys. It never ends.
One minute to go.
Please hit my music and yeet!
My name is Colin Cash Money Cannon.
What do we want to talk about?
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
You're still just a kid. Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
This is Lola Vice. I love you so much.
They love my Latina heat.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
You are CM Punk.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
Say his name and he appears.
Stan C, the voice of Philippine wrestling. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Romoran, the fancy daddy. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Chino Liao, Best Gout Machine, San Sebastian College Recoletos, College of St. Benilde, De La Salle University, International Academy of Film and Television.
Emil Nate, small forward, the Ateneo de Naga University.
And you're listening.
You're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
Hola, Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam! Wala tayong soundboard.
Yeah.
But you are listening and probably watching the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast in the land. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Chino Liao, Emil Nate, holding things down tonight on a very live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. How have you been, Emil?
Yeah, I've been doing just fine this week. Sobrang daming ganap sa wrestling this week.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm also looking forward to a hectic weekend of wrestling here in the next couple of days. So I'm super excited.
Yes. Kahit wala si Stan in the road tonight because of prior commitments, we are still here because the wrestling never stops. Therefore, the podcast cannot stop. Kahit gustuhin namin, there's somebody needs to man the stations. And para magawa namin yun, syempre, kailangan namin ng support. We need help from all you beautiful people out there. So, we are actually, first of all, pinakamadali for everybody listening, asking people to follow us, to subscribe to us on Spotify. If you have not hit the subscribe button yet, please do. Also, please leave a rating, preferably a 5-star rating kung gusto nyo, kung feel you deserve namin, you can do that. Also, comments go a long way. Sharing the episode also goes a long way in letting the people know that you love what we are putting out there in the world. Pero kung mas may kaya kayo at gusto nyo mag-promote, diba? Gusto nyo, you want to invite more people to check out your page, your product, we also offer sponsorship packages. Okay? We can work with your budget to put your product over. Kung gusto nyo mag-grant si Emil sa customized play natin, pwede din namin gawin yan for you. Kaya natin pag-usapan lahat yan. All you got to do to get the info is hit us up via email. It's hello.wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. hello.wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. There are also other ways to support us, and Emil will be the one here to tell you all about them.
Yes, so aside from the sponsorship that Chino mentioned, another way that you can support the podcast is through our Patreon and Gang. The links are patreon.com/wrestling podcast and gangnow.com/wrestling2xpod for as low as $5 for both platforms. Yung $5 na yun goes a long way again into helping us create content for you, do what we do best, diba, on a weekly basis. You could join our Discord community. It's always fun. It's always fun to talk shit, to talk stuff about wrestling, talk shit about life as well. And you'll get first tips to everything as well. You get priorities, diba, when we have events, when we have watch parties, we have pasabays. You always are the first to know. Those that $5 a month again goes a long way here in supporting us as we do what we do here we have been doing this podcast for the last 11 years. So thank you for all the support, and thank you for the future support that we're gonna get from you guys. So again, Patreon and Gang, $5 a month. Ayan.
To be fair, hindi tayo kasama dun sa 11 years na yun, ano ba? Parang,
Yes, the
sinasabi na si Roach and
OGs.
Stan.
Oh yes,
I'm not even
yeah.
part of that, so I don't know about you. Pero the
I've been
podcast has been around 11 years.
I've been here for only 2 years, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Buti ng klaro. All right. Also, we have an event. We have an event happening
Yes.
on Halloween. It's
Yun.
Halloween Quiz Night, also known as
Crystal Pabuza. That's the
oh,
name. Yun.
mouthful. Salamat, Rowan. Pinahirapan mo yung buhay ko. But invite them. It's going to happen at Hobby Stadium, a beautiful
Yun.
place, Hobby Stadium. October 31st, that is 8 p.m., I believe, or 7 p.m.
I think it's
October
7, yeah.
October
7 p.m.
31st, Friday. You can come by, answer some wrestling trivia, test your knowledge, that the people know na mas magaling kayo sa kanila, and come by donning your favorite wrestling cosplay. So yan.
Yun.
Gusto yung magdala ng belt, pwede na. Want to bring props, go right ahead. Dress to the nines and go crazy on Halloween night. So, I mean, where can they get to sign up for this again?
No, you just walk in, just go there.
Sign up. So walk in na diretso.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Right. So obviously, wala ako doon kasi hindi ko alam. No? So, but everybody else will be there.
Yes.
Ro, Stan, Emil, and Rowan, events producer Rowan, also going to be there. It will test your wrestling knowledge para magkaalaman na who walks away with the Quizzle Babuza. Ano pangalan net? Sorry.
Yeah, Crystal, you got it right. Crystal Pabuza.
Okay, kala ko tumamba lang ako. Right, I totally guessed what the title was. Quizzle Babuza Championship. Also, Emil, put over this beautiful Converge Netflix bundle.
All right, so people are asking where they could watch, the WWE programming. You could do it on Netflix via VPN, and you could also watch it via Blast TV, via Tap Sports, and you can experience both at their best by subscribing or upgrading your plan to the Converge Netflix bundle. There are 3 tiers to that bundle: the $17.98, the $99.98, and the $22.98. Included in that is, the high-speed internet, the new Wi-Fi modem, the free Netflix account, and the experience box, which I use to watch my content, my wrestling, my sports, andun na lahat, no. You could subscribe or upgrade through the customer service email. You could email them, or kung merong Converge office in your area, you could go there and inquire there yourselves, diba? Para mas madali. So again, Converge Netflix bundle, it's the best way to watch your WWE programming.
That is right. So now that we are done with all our housekeeping, we can finally get into the wrestling talk. Let's start things off with the Raw, and let's start at the end. After that amazing, incredible triple threat match, CM Punk walks away, your world heavyweight champion, number 1 contender. Right? So he beats LA Knight and Jey Uso in a very thrilling triple threat, and then just when we thought tapos na, here comes the Vision. They jumped CM Punk, give a beatdown to all 3 of the men there, and then kala natin yun na, nanalo na sila, they're on top. But then things aren't even through. A Chiron fake out brings us the most talked about moment of the week, and that is Braun Breaker spearing Seth freaking Rollins. So we'll break this down piece by piece. First of all, Emil, what are your thoughts on CM Punk walking away with the dub?
Actually, I wasn't thrilled when CM Punk won the match, kasi I think I've said my feelings about the Punk Rollins feud. It's been going on for so long. They have been feuding since like late 2023. I know there were breaks in the middle because Punk was out and Punk was feuding with McIntyre, but even then they were still talking shit to each other on TV. So in essence, for me, they were feuding since that day that Punk came back. So when he won, parang okay, so another Punk versus Rollins program. They have been basically going at it since like at the start of the year. So parang may sawa factor na for me na okay, I wish like LA Knight could have won. Kasi, you know, the Knight Rollins matchup I feel like would be a fresh one, or maybe Jey Uso could win so that they could continue the whole bloodline dissension thing, diba? But and then that ending happened and I was like, oh, whoa, this is new, diba? This is something that like parang adds a little bit more excitement to a quite stale main event scene. Kasi umiikot talaga yung main event scene with those four. Eh. So now with Braun in the picture, it gives us something new to watch out for.
Right. So I feel like, punta muna tayo kay Punk. I feel like Punk and Rollins is the story. It's the main story.
Yeah,
It's the
okay,
thing
fair.
they're building towards Mania 4. Because last Mania, yun yung nanalo si Seth Rollins, diba? He turned heel at Mania, walked away all vindicated, and then he cashed in on Punk of all people. Right? I don't think Punk's gotten him back for that yet. So yun pa rin yung kwento nila, sinasabi nila, everything else in between, the mixed tag match, this triple threat, it's all a stopgap. Diba? Even Punk versus Cena, it's all a stopgap for until Punk gets to Seth freaking Rollins here. Diba? So kahit anong gawin natin, sorry, yun talaga, long-term storytelling and all that. That's the story here. The thing I wanted to focus on was see Braun Breaker turning on, or the Vision essentially all turning on Seth freaking Rollins. Now there are reports that are saying, I mean, ikot the picture daw that allegedly Seth freaking Rollins is injured. Now we all know the history of Seth Rollins when it comes to injuries, diba? So, kahit sabihin ng WWE na injured talaga siya, kahit maglabas sila ng statement, kahit makita pa natin siyang nakakast, walking out during a match in a stretcher of all things, I still won't believe it. Because we know what happened the last time we believed it, huh? We all got worked. Doon natin napatunayan na wala tayong alam lahat. Right? In that exact moment. So I don't know how much bearing it actually has to say that Seth is injured. But especially since it's dirt sheet news. It's not even a press release that said he was injured. But that said, I don't have a problem with Punk winning. I do feel, however, that this turn takes away from the Rollins Punk feud.
Yun nga, you mentioned about not like Seth, yung not believing into the reports that Seth is injured kasi we already seen that like nung SummerSlam. But the turn itself, parang may indication na yun na baka may truth to all those rumors kasi a lot of people are saying na the turn feels rushed. Kasi sanay tayo when it comes to factions, diba? Especially in the Triple H era, na a faction will have a year or two run wherein they could develop they could develop the talent and they could they could tell stories, they could do all that, and then they're gonna do the breakup a little bit later than I guess a lot of people wanted. But this one, ilang months pa lang to, like 6 months into the run, they already did the turn. So sabi ko anong weekend reactions is I like the fact that this run only lasted up until this point kasi yun nga, not every faction needs a year or 2+ run. Like they could tell this story in 6 months and come up with 2 main eventers by the end of it, which is that's the goal of the Vision, diba? That's the goal of the Vision, to have main eventers by the end of the run, which I feel like at this point we could say that Braun Breaker is on the cusp, diba, of being a main eventer, and Bronson Reed is right there with him. So I feel like the Vision's vision of making new stars have been accomplished, and that's why whether or not the injury is true or not, I feel like na-accomplish ng Vision yung kanilang, yung no pun intended, vision, which is to make stars and for the future. And yun nga, that image of Braun lifting the World Heavyweight Championship at the end, I was so happy. I was so happy with that. Like, okay, finally, they're gonna finally strap the rocket on this man and push him to the moon.
Who do you think has more of an upside dito sa dalawang to? Is it Braun Breaker? Is it Bronson Reed?
Yun pa, di ba? I feel like at this point, it's Braun Breaker. Parang sa kanilang dalawa, siya yung mas ano eh. Siya yung mas may it factor. Siya yung may star potential. People have been just waiting for this to happen, really. Like ever since he stepped foot on Raw, and ever since he lost the IC title, people are just waiting. People are just waiting for this guy to break out and finally, be a world champion. And I feel like we're I don't think it's gonna happen yet in the next 12 months, but the chase itself would be an indication that this guy's already a main event player here on Raw.
I feel the same way. I feel like Bronson Reed, while he is good, he seems to just be there as muscle. Diba? Siya ang tunay na heater dito sa faction ito. He's the Batista of the group. If you know what I mean. Diba? The guy who's just there as muscle. Because they didn't really do a good job building him and building out his character and what he wants. Diba? And the goals that he has. Diba? Ang goal lang niya, nakawin yung sapatos ni Roman Reigns. Diba? That's not really a goal. Man, whereas you have Braun Breaker here, who actually knows what he wants. He wants to be champion. Kaya sa sumama may submission. That's why he sided with Seth freaking Rollins here. So, mas clear yung path ni Braun Breaker to the title here. And if this is whether they're deciding to pull the trigger on Braun Breaker, yeah, it's a wait and see moment for me. All right, we are taking a quick break for an Emil Nate dance break. Stick around. Back here on the Wrestling podcast. From Monday Night Raw, we move on to Tuesday night NXT, all the fallout from both Bound for Glory and Showdown, NXT TNA Showdown from last week. All of that is what we saw this week on NXT, including, but mostly featuring Trick Williams, who is gunning for Ricky Saints' NXT title. He was called out by Ricky Saints after Trick abandoned Ricky during the NXT TNA Men's Fatal 4-Way Survivor Series style match. And when you see Trick, and when he tricks Ricky, Ricky had to fend for himself against three of the best the TNA had to offer. Obviously, did not go well for him. He lost, and he was back on NXT TV calling out Trick Williams. Now, Trick Williams, being the smarmy heel that he is, only appeared on the Megatron, the Chiron, the TV thing, right?
Titantron.
The Jumbotron. There we go. Titantron, talking to Ricky Saints here, and then he jumps Ricky Saints later in the show. So we have set for Halloween Havoc. Trick Williams taking on Ricky Saints for the NXT Men's Championship.
This feels like a graduation program for Trick Williams. Ito na yung this is the final major PLE match he's gonna have before moving up. Kasi if you think about it, Trick has done everything in NXT. Diba? He's a two-time NXT champion pa nga, diba? And a TNA world champion. I think he already did everything that he could in that brand, and a call-up is long overdue. Dapat nga early this year, I feel like he should have been called up na, but they decided to put the TNA title on him. He had a great run. He had a great run as a TNA world champion, being the despicable Hollywood type heel, diba? But I feel like this is like one last hurrah for Trick Williams in NXT. I don't expect him to win here. I think Ricky is gonna retain because it's also pretty early in Ricky's Ricky's reign as the NXT champion. So it'll be a nice like send off here for Trick, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Trick Williams is winning the championship back. I feel like Ricky Saints winning is actually pretty given because, excuse me, because they need somebody to make Saints look good. And what better
Yeah.
way to make him look good than with somebody who's a multiple former champion, diba?
Champion,
And
diba?
two different brands, nonetheless. However, the thing I want to focus on here is the call up that you mentioned, because yes, he deserves a call up, but I don't think there's room for him in the main roster just yet. I think if you call him up now, he gets lost immediately in the shuffle. I don't know if he has anything that actually makes him stand out because Carmelo Hayes had that, and yet
Yeah.
he got lost in the shuffle. Diba? Hey, he was pretty mid-carded throughout his entire career, sorry to say. So now that you have another factor here in Trick Williams, I don't actually know how he fits in the whole main roster picture.
Yeah, you're kind of right there. Siguro ano, he's gonna have like one last run, and then siguro after Mania next year, I feel like that could be like the right time, or maybe for the Rumble, diba? Let's see what will happen here for Trick. Pero yun nga, it's gonna be a tough battle for him, in the main roster to see where he fits. What program could he have in as his first program in the main roster. So but yun nga, yung point din ko ni kanina is he has done everything in NXT. So, what more? Like he's in that top spot of he's ready for a call up, but you really can't see him being fit anywhere in the main roster just yet.
Other news on NXT Championship news, rather. Tatum Paxley wins the 20-woman Battle Royal that main evented this week's NXT. Very surprising fashion, rather. Very
Yep.
surprising fashion. She now moves on to face JC Jane for the NXT Women's title come Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, let's talk about that match first. Sa dami nangyari. There was so much narrative that was portrayed on that match first. It was nice to see a sort of mini reunion of the Meta Girls, diba?
Lash Legend and
Last
Mara
Legend
Sade.
Rashade, diba? And they even acknowledged it on commentary. So that was nice. We also saw a progression. It seems like for the knockouts title feud between Kalani and Jordan, di ba? Di ba si Jordan Grace kinupan niya si Kalani Jordan eh. With the way that Grace eliminated her. And yeah, this one further developments on the di ba on yung sa team ni Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame, di ba? Like Tatum won kind of accidentally kasi Izzy and Jordan went over the top rope. So it's a nice development to the story ni Tatum and Izzy. But I don't think Tatum is the one to dethrone what's her name? JC Jane
JC Jane.
JC, sorry.
How dare you forget the rock star's name, Emilio?
Sorry.
How dare you forget the rock star's name?
I don't think she's the one to dethrone JC Jane just yet for the NXT title, but yeah, it seems like Lyra's involved in the story now. Hindi kasi before akala ko sumusulpot lang siya for a one-off appearance, but now she's in the story here. She's probably going to be involved in this possible program between Tatum and Izzy Dame.
Just because of all the story factors that happened during the finish, Lyra and Izzy and everybody else involved, I want Tatum to win it. I know it's unlikely. I want to see it go over because it helps their story move forward. It sows seeds of jealousy in the calling, diba? Na this unlikely loser, shall we say, that they took in, diba, and brainwashed, suddenly becomes champion, diba? Suddenly wins the tournament or the battle royale, and then the champion siya, diba? So that's against Izzy Dame, who's supposed to be the leader of this group. She does all the talking, and she couldn't finish the job, diba? I think one of two things happens. It's either Tatum wins or Izzy turns on Tatum, diba? Because I don't think kaya ni Izzy sa mentality niya na napasikatin si Tatum Paxley, right? Because then that'll just prove that Lyra was right, di ba? Hindi kailangan ni Tatum yung calling, right? And that she should just return to the light side of things, right? But if that happens, then it just kills the calling. So something drastic has to happen here with this story. Other things that happened dito sa Battle Royale na to, we got the return of Victoria Crawford to a
Oh
WWE
yeah.
ring, di ba?
Yeah.
aka Alicia Fox, to all
Oh.
you ruthless aggression babies there. Diba? She got to return there. Victoria Crawford, we also got to see a different part of the show. See Matt Cardona also returning
Yeah.
to a WWE ring after almost a decade or more than a decade, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yep.
ang daming nangyari dito sa NXT episode na to. A lot of returns. We got to see a lot of turns as well. And we also got to see the newest member of Fatal Influence in Lady Reed. They announced it during a vignette. They doubled down on the fact that Lady Reed was the one who took out Jasmine Nix because she saw that she was the weak link. And now she is officially the third member of a now newly reformed Fatal Influence.
Yeah, I thought honestly when Jasmine got taken out that the group is gonna collapse. Like Fallon is also gonna, gonna do her own thing now. But they are reinforcing this group talaga, di ba? And Lady Reed is a nice addition to this group. Kasi Jasmine, di ba? The way they were telling the story of the Fatal Influence, Jasmine seemed like yun nga, she's the weak link. She's always the one eating the pins, di ba? So, Lainey Reed is a great replacement, I think, for Jasmine Nix, and and yeah, can't wait to see more of Fatal Influence. I feel like they're gonna be called up together, tong tatlong to, kasi it seems like they have no plans of breaking them up anytime soon, especially now, di ba? Like yun nga, weeks ago, I thought they were gonna do the dissension, but now they are stronger than ever, which is good.
They are really hot on Lady Reed. And by they, I mean, yung mga kasama ni NXT, ni Emil Nate dun sa writers room ng NXT because they have been pushing her to the moon ever since
Yes.
she
Oh.
debuted. First match niya on TV was for the championship right away. Diba? And then
Yeah.
she had title matches after that for she made it all the way to the finals of the Speed diba, tournament, diba? And then got injured, unfortunately. So there's that. I don't know if she's still injured, how much of a factor she'll actually be in this three-person stable. But the fact that they are so hot on Lady Reed right now just goes to show that they believe Lady Reed has yung it factor na lagi sinasabi ni Booker T, diba? So
Yeah.
if she has it, then good for her and good for Fatal Influence. You all know I'm a gooner for Fatal Influence. So the fact that they got a third person again is all good in my opinion. Just very good things. Also, another good thing, NXT just announced, or Ava's just announced, the NXT GM just announced the four-person tournament to determine the number one contender for the men's speed championship. On the tournament brackets, we have Axiom, Sean Legacy, Jasper Troy,
And
and
Zach Sequence of the
there we go.
Rascals.
Number number one contender. Sorry, I'm fighting off a sneeze there, but the number one contender is moving on to face El Grande Americano for
Yun.
excuse me
There you
the
go.
men's championship. There you go. So, what
I,
do you think, Emil, of the bracket?
Very interesting na I thought yung Speed Championship was just gonna be women exclusive to the women because they only brought it back yung binalik lang nila when when Speed got discontinued was the women. So I am glad that they are, they are bringing back the men's speed championship here, and I feel like whoever's gonna win this tournament will take up the title of El Grande Americano because I don't expect El Grande to be Americano to be, an exclusive to NXT because he's already doing wonderful
Yeah.
wonderful things on Raw, diba? So I actually want Sean Legacy to come out of this tournament because I'm high on Sean Legacy. That guy is so good. For me he's already too good for Evolve, but I also recognize that they want someone of a high caliber talent to also represent Evolve. But yeah, he's too good for Evolve at this point. He's ready for NXT, and maybe a way to integrate him to NXT is to become the Speed Champion. So I'm predicting it now. Like I want Shawn Legacy to be the guy coming out of this tournament as the number one contender and as a champion eventually. For that Speed belt.
I don't think they ever said na hindi nila gagawin yung men's speed championship.
Yeah, maybe I
It's,
just assumed.
hindi nila sinabi na wala na yung men's. Baka pinitch mo yan sa writer's room. Tapos
Yeah.
hindi nila tinanggap, no? But I think they've always been planning. So I remember Ava announcing this. She announced both men and women. So I was just waiting here to see how they were going to do the men's side of things. Tama ka, Emil, no, na si El Grande Americano is doing a lot of heavy lifting on the Raw. Therefore, they need to pass the title on to somebody else. While you have Shawn Legacy, ako naman, I want to see something different. So I want to go with the monster, Jasper Troy.
Ooh, that's also an interesting pick.
That's because he also has been billed very highly on the NXT roster. Pero ano nangyari? Wala. Diba? He lost to Ricky Saint. He lost to Obafemi. He lost to Ricky Saint. So, sayang naman yung push yet. They're not going to give him something. And if you really want to shake things up in a style, in a match, in a division that's supposed to be high flying and fast paced, diba? Why not go with somebody who's the opposite of that?
That would be interesting to see someone who's as big as Jasper Troy be the Speed Champion. That's an interesting concept. Kind of makes me want to see that.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it only a wait and see thing for us because the men's speed tournament number one contendership is going to happen next week on NXT. All right, we are moving on to a rare bit of news from the Far East, aka New Japan Pro Wrestling. This must be talked about because Konosuke Takeshita is now your new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He won the title by beating Arkoya Junjun in the King of Pro Wrestling pay-per-view that happened over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So natalo niya si Kuya Junjun, Zack Sabre Jr., and now we have Takeshita, who I believe is the first not fully signed New Japan wrestler to win the IWGP Championship. So that in itself, also pretty history making.
Medyo controversial nga because the crowd's reception to Takeshita wasn't that good kasi I don't kasi from reading from reading the comments and from reading what Doc G, diba, said on our Discord, they kind of don't like outsiders winning their biggest title. But to me, Takeshita is signed to New Japan as well, diba? He has 3 contracts. He has contracts with AEW, contracts with New Japan, and a contract with DDT. So he's pretty much also a part of New Japan, and obviously they see him as a big star. So parang okay lang sa akin na he won the title over Zack Sabre Jr. It's parang long overdue nga for him to win a major title in any promotion, diba? He hasn't really won a world title just yet, even though I thought he could have been an AEW World Champion anytime this year. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting kasi if you look at what's happening right now in AEW programming, he and Okada are having this payabangan, diba? Even though they're on the same side. So what if for Wrestle Kingdom we might see a Takeshita versus Okada match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship? That is something that I think we need to watch out for in the next coming months. What will happen? What will be the development of that that little feud going on between those two? So yeah, it's a interesting thing to watch out for, at least if you're a New Japan fan or an AEW fan.
Also, mali pala ako, it wasn't just it's not his first time winning. Or sorry, it's not the first time New Japan has had an outsider Gaijin sort of champion, because we also forgot about John Moxley. I forgot about John Moxley. He was a former champion. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting, especially with the implications that it has with regards to Katsuchika Okada and their standing in the Don Callis family. Remember, they are also competing for a match on WrestleDream, which we will talk about right after this break. So stick around.
Mahal ko, pagkat saan ka man naroon, pintig ng puso ko'y para sa'yo. Naghihirap man ang aking damdamin, nagmamahal pa rin sa'yo, giliw. Libutin man kita'y di ko magawa, hindi pa rin ako nagbabago.
At it with the Wrestling Podcast, and may mga nagpaparamdam sa ating comsec. So Emil, Nate, let me know what the people are saying.
Yeah, did point out the fact that after the match, Hiroki Goto came out and challenged Takeshita for the title. So possibly for Wrestle Kingdom. Kasi sabi ko kanina, baka Okada Takeshita sa Wrestle Kingdom. So, that's a good point na I think Takeshita versus Goto is a possible Wrestle Kingdom matchup. He's also owned the title shot kasi di ba natalo siya, di ba? Goto was a champion early this year, but he lost the title. So yeah, that's an interesting matchup. Someone who's homegrown New Japan, di ba? Goto against someone the NJPW fans sees as an outsider in Takeshita. So that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one to watch out for.
I think it's also a lot likelier for it to happen because I don't know how eager Okada is to make a return
siguro,
to New Japan. Diba? He walked away. He left New Japan because of issues, right? So if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know how eager he is to go back to that current product that he left. Diba? So baka mas likely yung Goto versus Takeshita, which is still going to be good, still going to be extremely hard-hitting. Diba? But I mean, Wrestle Kingdom is all the way in January. Madami pa tayong kakainin bigas kung tulad ng sinasabi nila before we get to that. And until then, we got to talk about AEW and WrestleDream, which is happening this Sunday. The Sunday of Sari Slam. Bright and early. It's October 18 in the US, October 19 ng umaga sa atin. And we have 9 matches on the card. So we, myself, and Emil here are going to predict all of them, starting with the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand in a tornado tag match.
Yeah, this is a rematch from the last pay-per-view, diba? So
yes,
and I think the last pay-per-view was the Demand who got the win. So I feel like the Hurt Syndicate will get their win back. The story that they were telling here is parang si MVP. Di naman weak link, but it's clearly getting up there in age. But yeah, I think babawi sila dito. The Hurt Syndicate will come out here on top with a win, and this because of that, possibly there's going to be another match here, probably with a stipulation here as a third match between these two factions.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a rubber match here. I think the rubber match might be if you lose, you have to break up. Because it's going to look that way, especially since they are sowing seeds of discontent here on the side of the Hurt Syndicate. So if that's the case, I don't see a problem with that happening. I'm not saying the Hurt Syndicate is going to lose in total. I'm just saying for this match, sila yung magwawagi. All right, let's move on to the next match on the card. It is Jamie Hayter taking on Thekla.
Interesting matchup here. This match was an offshoot from the four-way that they had nung last the All Out pay-per-view. So very interesting here kasi they're really pushing yung group nila Tekla, di ba? Forgot the name of the group.
The Triangle of Madness.
Yeah, the Triangle of Madness. So it seems like you're really pushing that group. So I feel like giving her a pay-per-view win here over one of the most established stars that they have on the women's division can do good for their group. So I'm going with Tekla here.
Same. I'm also going with Tekla. I love the character that they gave her, allowing her to explore her evilness.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. So The fact that they're giving her a shot against Jamie Hayter, who you've said and I've said in the past is one of the top stars in the women's division, really goes to show na may tiwala sila dito kay Tekla. Who's no slouch, by the way? She's a former Joshi, in case you didn't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Diba? She was in Stardom. So the fact that they're giving her all the flowers right now, really well deserved. So I am also going with Tekla. Our third match on the card, this yung guy pinag-usapan natin. Rodino taking on the Don Callis family in the form of Okada and Takeshita for the AEW Tag Team Championships.
The Don Callis family has too much belts at this point. That's why I think Brodito's gonna retain. The Brodito's gonna retain because the dissension between Okada and Takeshita will continue. Yun naman talaga yung story dito. It's not between Brodito and Don Callis family. It's really between Okada and Takeshita kasi nagpapayabangan nga silang dalawa eh. So, I feel like Don Callis family is gonna lose, and I don't think the turn is gonna happen yet, but yeah, it's gonna lead to more tension between Okada and Takeshita. So I go with the baby faces here to retain the tag team titles.
I was actually going the opposite way. I
Oh
wanted
wow.
Takeshita and Okada to win because having them bicker and one up each other as champions, it's going to be super interesting. It's going to make for entertaining TV. Diba? Na hindi sila cooperate, pero dahil sobrang galing nila pareho, they still end up winning, right?
Yeah, the odd
I don't
couple tag team
I
show.
don't think their implosion is going to happen on this pay-per-view just yet. I think it's going to happen when there are higher stakes involved, diba? Stakes that might lead to Okada challenging Takeshita for the championship, diba? So if they lose the title, if they win the tag titles trying to one up each other, and they lose the titles trying to one up each other, then that makes for a more compelling story, in my opinion. So I think just because kasi yung Brodino parang it's a happy accident that they stumbled on, diba? They're not a real tag team, diba? Not in that sense. But then they worked, so they gave them the championship, right? So the fact that they gave them the championship, I think they've had their run. It was fun, but maybe they might want to use these titles to tell a story. So I am going with the Don Callis family.
Yeah, good point. That's a great point that you brought up. Yeah, like parang ano eh. The odd couple tag team show is always entertaining.
Oo.
Yeah.
Tama. So another member of the Don Callis family in Kyle Fletcher puts his TNT championship on the line against Mark Briscoe.
Kyle retains. I just don't see him losing the TNT title at this point. But at the same time, I can't help but to wonder, when is he gonna break that ceiling to be a main eventer? Because they've been giving him some main event spots here in the last like 6 months. But every time he's gonna go up against a bigger star or champion, he loses and then he goes back to battling out for the TNT title. So he's in that weird spot right now, in my opinion, na parang he's ready, but at the same time, still got these guys fighting over in the main event scene here. So parang hindi pa pwede. But yeah, but at this point, yeah, probably have him retain the title and have him, just go on this tremendous run as the TNT champion. So I go with Kyle Fletcher.
Same. I will also go with Fletcher. And to your point, I don't think it's a matter of Fletcher being ready for the main event picture. I think it's a matter of them rather, having room for Fletcher in the main event picture. Because ang dami nila, sabay-sabay.
Yep.
Diba? You got your Moxleys, you got your Orange Cassidys, diba? You got, ang dami, sabay-sabay. So, hindi nila mahanapan ng space si Kyle Fletcher. And Kyle Fletcher, as good as he is, can easily get lost in the shuffle. But he doesn't really have anything other than his athleticism that makes him stand out. So, that said, I don't think he's good as the TNT champion. Not gonna lie. So why not keep him there for a bit? Diba? Let him marinate, kumbaga. Let him build that experience, but that XP, grind it out till he actually stands out enough for him to earn an actual title spot, diba? A main event spot. Like we think he deserves. Until then, he's gonna be good in the mid-card scene, ruling all the TNT Championship division. All right, moving on to your card. We have Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks in a $500,000 tag team match.
I because they've been reunited recently lang, I feel like Jurassic Express is gonna win here. And plus, the Bucks being broke storyline is still entertaining. Hindi pa rin ako nagsasawa to see the Young Bucks lose money. It makes for entertaining TV. And yeah, it furthers the parang yung the Bucks on a losing streak up to a point where they're gonna be sympathetic again. Kasi ganun na eh. Papunta na dun eh. Papunta na dun sa point na yun. So, Jurassic Express here is gonna win. In
Yeah,
my
and
opinion.
also, this is just funny. Also, mahirap yung Bucks not because of any misfortune,
Yeah.
but because of their own doing. Diba? Parang sila din may kasalanan kung ba't wala silang pera. So,
Oh,
the fact that they keep earning this money and keep blowing it on casinos and
oh.
ridiculous shit really goes to show na hindi na deserve tong pera na to. And you're right. Jurassic Express really just got back together, so they deserve the victory here. So I am also going with Jurassic Express. Although I don't know what use a dinosaur has for money. Hindi ko alam kung magagastos niya yan sa Flintstones era.
For food, I guess.
For food. Kakainin niya, ganun. Kakainin niya literal yung pera. All right, moving on to your AEW Women's Championship. We have Chris Statlander defending her title against Timeless Tony Storm.
This storyline, my God, the sexual tension between these two is off the charts, diba? Especially that's if you see that the segment that they had earlier, diba? Before the start of the interview, they were one-upping each other, stripping off their clothes, and then ending that segment with a kiss to the forehead. I want this program to continue, but pares kasi silang babyface eh. So I feel like this is a one-off. And as much as I want Tony to win the title again, I feel like they're sticking here with Statlander and her push as the women's champion. So I'll go with Stat.
Yeah, same. I don't want Tony Storm to win because Tony Storm is going through something right now. She said it in the past about how she's going through a crisis of confidence or an identity crisis here.
Yeah.
Who is she? She said it time and time again. So I don't think her winning is the right move here because then it just buries that journey that she's going on. So feel like, if anything, this is just a statement victory for Statlander. Yeah, it's very sexually tensioned here, very, very sapphic coded, if I may say, but I think that's not the focus here. The focus is Tony Storm. The story is Tony Storm if she can overcome whatever she's going through to win the title, and I don't think she will. I think she's going to go through more shit, and that's why I think Stat walks away still women's champion. All right, another one on your card. It is for the men's championship this time, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Hangman Page defends against Samoa Joe.
This is an easy one. Sabi ko nga in a prior episode, this feud feels like a filler feud. Yes, Joe is great. He's a threat to Hangman, but I just don't see Hangman losing the title here. And I don't see this feud extending further than WrestleDream. So I go with Hangman here.
Same. I don't think this was a serious feud to begin with.
Yeah.
The fact that they had a hard time trying to establish any sort of heat between these two really just goes to show na hindi sila masyadong seryoso dito sa rivalry na to. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a serious, long-term story that they wanted to tell. It was just another stop in the Hangman Page Championship Tour. So I think Hangman wins. Who takes the title off of Hangman? I don't know. And frankly, I don't really care. If somebody takes it off, then they have to deserve it. Otherwise, every single title that he has to defend, or every single match he has to defend the title in, is just another sort of temporary feud because Hangman is super over.
Yep. You see, Samoa Joe feels like the parang villain of the week lang eh. Like,
Right.
yeah, and that the hero has to overcome, and then he's gonna move on to
Oh,
to the next one.
tama. All right. And finally, I think this is the main event of the
Yes,
show.
yeah, I feel like this will main event for
This
sure.
is John Moxley versus Darby Allin in an I Quit match.
Did you see the segment earlier? The cinematic thing that they did. For some reason Darby Allin was in jail. Like
Right.
di ko alam kung how did he end up there. And they had this conversation when Mox went deep and then Pac attacked Darby from behind, like ilang beses niyang inumpog si Darby Allin dun sa glass, diba? And freaking Darby Allin came back at by the end of the night, naduguan, and like parang sinasabi niya na Mox can't make him quit. So I want to see how far these two could go, as far as the violence and all the shit that these two are known for. So I want them to go far, and in terms of who I think is gonna win, I feel like Darby's gonna win. Like this is all like ever since the feud started, this really has been a setup for a Darby, like yung heroic Darby victory here. So I feel like he's gonna win with the help of Bryan Danielson. Yun na, feel ko lang.
Right. I also feel like baliw sila pareho.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do some crazy, gnarly things during this match. As in, sobrang brutal nito. It's not gonna be for the faint of heart. Diba?
Sure,
Si
yeah.
Darby na nagpapabato sa stairs and si Moxley na yung dumudugo in 5 minutes. It's gonna go wild, you guys. And if you're squeamish, I suggest you fast forward to the whole thing. But that's it. I agree with young Emil here. I think this story has been set up to put Darby over, to actually make him look like main event material, because yun yung complaint ng marami sa atin dito that he's not really main event material. But I beg to disagree again. I am not one of those people. I am in the minority that thinks otherwise. However, I also believe that Darby can hold his own against John Moxley, especially in an I Quit match, in an anything goes I Quit match, diba? Na may fire and thumbtacks and broken glass na nakasama. I don't really think that they have a limit for this, pero sana safe sila pareho. That said, I think Darby Allin walks away with the W.
Yep.
All right, that does it for the end of WrestleDream predictions and the end of the show. Yay, we made it, you guys. Congratulations.
Raffle, you're gonna have a
right,
raffle.
that's right. And as a prize to everybody, syempre, meron tayong pa-raffle. So, babyface producer Jasper, can you pull out the raffle?
Yeah, we have. We're gonna draw 5 times. So the first 4, it's gonna be for Jen and
Yeah, okay. So ito pala.
Sari Slam, yeah.
Yes, so yan pala yung prizes natin, just in case you didn't know. So we have 4 general admission tickets to this Sunday. Excuse me again. This Sunday, Sari Slam, that is happening October 19th at Brawl Pit, Bulusan. You can get your tickets still or sold out na ba? Sold out na yata, di ba?
Yes, I think sold out na siya, yeah.
Sold out na siya. So this is your last chance to walk away with the ticket. Sana sumali kayo. Sana nag-Google kayo ng maayos.
Yes.
Diba? And we'll be giving away 5 tickets, like I said, 4 of which are general admission, and 1 of which is VIP. Diba?
Yeah, SVIP. So.
SVIP pa. So, now, without further ado, let's put on the Wheel of Names.
Yun. Spin it, Jasper. All right. Oh, yun. Congrats on the first winner.
Alvin Manisan, hello and congratulations to you. Next winner.
Yeah, we're gonna post this after the show so that you'll know.
Ipopost mo na, Jasper, chat mo na lang para safe tayo.
He's chatting the name.
Yeah, no. We're looking for Randy Rand. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
These are the general admission tickets, guys. Okay. So yung question natin dito was before signing with the WWE, which faction was Lacey Lane a part of? Okay? Which faction was Lacey Lane a part of? And ang tamang sagot was... actually, di ko alam kasi di ko din ginugal kasi di ako madaya. No, it's here. It's here. It's here. Trust me, I know. Shut up. Don't question my authority. Congratulations to everybody who successfully answered it.
Ayun, the third
Next winner, Jasper. Next winner.
Uy, kala naman si Io Sky.
Shion Sky. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations. Ayan. Next one, Jess.
Baka tita niya si Shion Sky. Next winner, the last winner of the general admission ticket.
Ayun. Hey!
Justy Hernandez, congratulations. All right, now that we've gotten the Gen Ad tickets out of the way, punta na tayo ngayon sa grand prize winner natin ng SVIP tickets to Sari Sari Slam. Next con, Sari Sari Slam, again happening this Sunday, October 19 at Brawl Pit, Bulusan.
Ayan. All right, let's see. Who's it gonna be? But hey, MJ Bruce
Bermoy, congratulations. Again, kung di na narinig yung pangalan nyo, we will be posting this on our social media. So please give us a follow. It's at the Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, at Wrestling 2X Pod on everywhere else. All right. Congrats to everybody. Hopefully we can see you at the shows this weekend. I am not going to be at the Sunday show because I'll be at somewhere else, but I hope you guys can check out the meet and greet. Everybody else will be there. I will be there. Emil will be there. Pro and Stan, of course, are going to be there. Hopefully we can all see you there. Let's get to some plugs from my end. I am doing stand-up this weekend, Saturday, with Mr. Stanley Chi. So it's also going to be at Hobby Stadium. So just after the meet and greet. So if you're there for the meet and greet, baka gusto nyo maiwan for some stand-up, I will be there. The show is called GI Jokes, Genuine in Chick Jokes. I will be there. Mr. Stanley Chi will be there, as well as others, amazing comedians from Comedy Manila. This is a part of our Joketoberfest celebrations. Tickets are available online, comedymanila.ph/shows. Also for my podcast, the Class Clown Podcast, my guest for this week is Pura Luca Vega. If you don't know who she is a, sabihin natin controversial.
Yes.
A drag queen who was in the news recently or fairly recently for cosplaying or for performing as Jesus. Diba? So we talked to them about that, as well as the fact that she's actually training to be a wrestler. She's part of the FPW boot camp. So I talked to them about it, and I talked to them about their performance and all that on this week's episode of the Class Clown Podcast. And finally, the last thing, and probably the most important thing that I'm going to promote, is please be on the lookout for our episode of Chinoy by Blood, Filipino by Heart on the Billionario News channel. It is an entire episode dedicated to Chinoy comedians. So myself, Stanley Chi, and Sisi, who you may know better as Auntie, are all a part of that episode. So sana panoorin nyo. It is premiering on the Billionaire News channel and also up on Chinoy TV's YouTube page. I-share ko yan once it's out there. Pero kung kaya nyo panoorin on your own free time, please do. Emil, what do you have going on for yourself?
All right, so we'll see you there on Saturday and Sunday for DexCon weekend. And as part of DexCon weekend, we actually did an interview with Kid
Oo nga
Bandit.
pala,
Oh,
yes.
we did an interview with Kid Bandit earlier today, so I expect that. I think bukas, no, that's gonna be uploaded just in
Yes.
time before the DexCon weekend. We talked to her about her the changes that happened to her life ever since the first time that the podcast has interviewed her. Her training, training regimens, her experiences wrestling in Europe, so all that and more. And also, I think tomorrow, you guys, di ba? Kayo ni Stan, you're
That's
gonna
right.
interview Carlo Cannon. So we got two episodes that you guys should watch out for before DexCon weekend. And yeah, we'll see you guys this weekend.
All right, that does it for us here on the Wrestling Podcast. Sana na-enjoy niyo yung chaos. Sana
Yeah.
na-enjoy niyo yung pag-ubo ko. Hopefully, you got your fix of wrestling for the week. Please follow us on Spotify and on social media. It's at the Wrestling Podcast on Facebook at Wrestling2XPod for everywhere else. For myself, it's at Chino Supersize. For Emil here, it's ano ulit yung handle mo, Emil?
It's EML_Meister
There
for
we
me.
go. And for Stancy, it's _Stancy. And for Ro, it is at Ro is War. Again, for the podcast, it's at Wrestling2XPod. We will be back here tomorrow with, like Emil said, your interview with Kid Bandit. Until next time, mga kapodcast, this has been the Wrestling Podcast. Stay dry, stay safe. Like Stan always says, don't be a dick, you guys. Wrestling Podcast, out.
Peace.